Hi, my name is Angela Beabout, and I'm going to be talking to you today about how meditation can reduce anxiety by essentially quieting the left hemisphere and focusing on the right hemisphere. To begin, we're going to talk about how we have two brains and not one. These two brains are known as the left and right hemisphere of the cerebral cortex, and they work together because they're contralateral. The left hemisphere, on one hand, is heavily involved with language, speech, problem solving, storytelling, inference, recognizing self, distinguishing self from others, and rationalizing. The left hemisphere is known as the language dominant hemisphere. On the other hand, we have the right hemisphere, which is responsible for things like visual spatial processing, facial recognition, recognizing others, visual imagery, the concreteness of words, and theory of mind, where there is the attribution of belief in another person. Also, the right hemisphere is responsible for abstract thought and creativity. When talking about the two hemispheres, it's important to know that lateralization is the concept where one side of the brain is not superior to the other, and the functions are not absolutely exclusive to either side. However, each side does specialize in certain functions in which that particular side is best at or dominant in controlling. Most functions, such as motor control, for example, like sensory perception, is contralateral. The right hand is controlled by the left hemisphere, and the left hand is controlled by the right hemisphere. Albert Einstein was onto something. He said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." What he's talking about here with the intuitive mind is the right hemisphere, and the rational mind, as a faithful servant, is the left hemisphere. He thinks that we should honor the gift and not the servant, which links us back to how meditation, focusing on the right hemisphere, can be really beneficial. He's saying that we need to pay more attention to our right hemispheres, or the intuitive mind. We have the power to exercise our brains, and we really should take advantage of that. The benefits can range from less anxiety to better sleep, and even better communication between the two hemispheres, which improves countless cognitive functions. Fear. It's in your DNA. Even though this might sound a little bit harsh, it's accurate considering that it's one of our most basic and primordial emotions. A very old structure in our brain called the hypothalamus controls the autonomic nervous system, which includes the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is involved in our fight or flight responses, and when anxiety or panic occurs, our bodily defense mechanisms kick in. These defense mechanisms can include increased heart rate, dilation of the lung airways and pupils of the eyes, inhibiting salivation and bladder from voiding, decreasing intestinal motility, and the signaling molecule for the sympathetic nervous system is norepinephrine. The parasympathetic nervous system has opposite effects and a different neurotransmitter, which is acetylcholine. Sigmund Freud described psychological defenses, and he said that these fight or flight defense mechanisms associated with anxiety are engraved deeply into our DNA. Your society encourages left brain dominance. According to Dr. Narvaez, our culture heavily encourages left brain dominance. And this begins in early childhood when we're told to criticize, judge, sort out details, etc. According to Dr. Narvaez, he says that the left hemisphere is propelled by ranking and status, manipulating and controlling. It loves to feel authority over details and creates stories out of what it knows. It is constantly chattering, criticizing, judging, categorizing, and separating individual things from the larger picture, using any patterns it has learned. It is constantly striving to make sense, but the good news is that we can reverse this because of neuroplasticity. In an adult brain, the formation of about 1,400 new neurons occur every day within the two hippocampi. And with practice and meditation, we can encourage more right brain dominance. It's time to train your brain. As with medication for anxiety, meditation takes time to be effective. Meditation alleviates anxiety by forcing the brain to stay in the moment, by ignoring the past and regrets that one has made. According to a study, MRI scans show that after an 8-week course of mindfulness practice, the brain's fight or flight center, the amygdala, appears to shrink. This primal region of the brain associated with fear and emotion is involved in the initiation of your body's response to stress. This is possible by meditation because you focus on silencing your ego, your judgments, your criticisms, and your regrets, which are all functions of the left hemisphere. A stroke, curse or blessing? Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor would say it was a blessing. She's a neuroscientist who had a stroke that caused a hemorrhage in her left hemisphere. During the stroke, she experienced total domination of her right hemisphere and says that it changed her for the better. It encouraged her to write a book called My Stroke of Insight, which is also the title of her TED Talk, where she explains that she felt she had found nirvana from being alone in her right hemisphere, and she was able to realize that she was a being of massive, expansive energy, and she felt connected to all the energy surrounding her in a way that she'd never felt before. Taylor was completely immersed in the present moment with no fear, no anxiety, no regrets, and she wasn't concerned with the past or present. She shared this TED Talk to encourage humanity to seek out their right hemispheres in order to experience this nirvana. Taylor feels that the world would be a beautiful place filled with harmony if more people knew of this gift that they already have. And she encourages everyone to practice mindful meditation. You, just like Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, can achieve peace through mindful meditation. Dr. Ronald Siegel provides 2 ways to practice mindfulness. The first is a meditation exercise. To begin, you sit on a straight-backed chair or cross-legged on the floor. Second, focus on an aspect of your breathing, such as the sensations of air flowing into your nostrils and out of your mouth, or your belly rising and falling as you exhale and inhale. Thirdly, once you've narrowed your concentration in this way, begin to widen your focus. Become aware of sounds, sensations, and any ideas. Lastly, embrace and consider each thought or sensation without judging it good or bad. If your mind starts to race, return your focus to breathing, then expand your awareness again. This practice can help you focus on your right hemisphere and silence your left just long enough for you to experience some peace. Second, Dr. Ronald Siegel promotes practicing awareness in daily life. First, he says that you should start by bringing your attention to the sensations in your body. Second, he says breathe in through your nose, allowing the air to fill your lungs. Let your abdomen expand fully, then breathe out slowly through your mouth. This pattern may slow down your heart rate and lower your blood pressure, helping you relax. Notice the sensations of each inhalation and exhalation. Thirdly, he says to proceed with the task at hand slowly and with full deliberation. Engage your senses fully, he says. Notice each sight, touch, and sound so that you savor every sensation. When you notice that your mind has wandered from the task at hand, bring your attention back to the sensations of the moment. This is just a way to practice meditation in everyday life, like if you're sitting at work and you feel anxious and you feel like you're going to have a panic attack, or if you don't have a panic disorder, you're just feeling really overwhelmed. This is a way to get a grip and to feel peaceful and to move on through the task with confidence.